wanted to talk to you about the importance of delegating and elevating. In your business journey, there comes points when you have to let go to grow is another way in order to deal with it. And I've got a little bit of a step process that you can use that I've been through on my own business journey that will help you, that will give you clarity, and that will make it easier for you to know when, why, what is the best thing to do and how to potentially do it. Because I'm going through this phase in my business at the moment. Now, maybe you can relate this too. Let me know if you can, that, administration is getting more. You're doing things that you don't necessarily want to be doing in a day. You're not focusing on your superpowers, as I talk about. Generally, you've got things that you can do in your business that you are better than everybody else at. And I think it's really important that you stay true to yourself. And in the early phases, particularly of business, you have to do absolutely everything. But in order to be able to build a fun and profitable lifestyle business, which is my whole ethos, you have to be proactive. You have to be thinking 3-4 moves ahead. And having removed myself last year from the day-to-day running and operations of my mortgage brokerage, I now coach and mentor over 170, I think we are now, service-based and financial services professionals to build that fun and profitable lifestyle. And what I think is really important, in fact, what I know is really important, because the process that I have gone through to remove myself from the operations of the mortgage brokerage, the service-based business, and now the exact same process and challenges that I am feeling in the training business. So I really want to help you to think about your superpowers. Let me share with you my process that I've gone upon over the last few years, and I'm hoping that it will inspire you to think and do the same things. Because we have to work out, first of all, from a personal development perspective, who we want to be, and then we can work out what we have to do in order to achieve what we want to have. The difficulty for most people, and I see online, particularly in social media and particularly on these platforms, is that most people want to focus on what they want to have first. But if you're focusing on what you want to have, one, you're always going to be stressed out because you haven't got it yet. Whereas if you have a goal and a satellite navigation, and you know the journey you want to get to, you just have to say, who do I need to become? And what do I need to do to become that person? Knowing that it's going to get you to what you want to have. So if we think about business, first of all, when you start out, you're wearing the 4 main hats within your business. You're wearing marketing, sales, admin, and finances. And these are the 4 things that you have to really leverage out as quickly as possible. And they're in the order of marketing, sales, admin, and finances, because that's the order in which you have to focus your priority as a business owner on them. And the other side is you have to leverage them in reverse order. So I've been working a lot with one-to-one clients at the present time, and not having a clear enough grasp on the finances is one of the first problems that I solve. Because if you don't know your numbers over the course of the next 12 months, you can't remove yourself from the day-to-day operations. You have to have a target, a sales target. You have to have a prediction for your turnover expenses and therefore your gross profit, i.e. the money you're going to make before tax. And I have a spreadsheet that I've always used. It's evolved over the years, but that's one of the key things that's enabled me to remove myself, because every 3 months I'm able to look and see where we are at as a business and then start to delegate those tasks. So I'm a massive fan of having Xero or QuickBooks as an online technical tool. I'm a massive fan of having a bookkeeper who you can pay anything from £10 to £25 per hour. I pay my bookkeeper roughly £200 a month for my 2 businesses, soon to be 3. And she does everything. I take photos of the receipts. They go onto Xero. I put invoices into Dropbox. She reconciles it all. make sure that the bank matches the receipts, which is great for my accountant, reduces my accountant's cost. But every month I have a profit and loss to base my business decisions on. And if you don't like numbers, which a lot of business owners don't, particularly if you're a creative, it's great to leverage that out. So you can do that relatively quickly in your journey, and you can do it really early on. The second thing you then need to leverage is your administration and the things that are lower value tasks. Now, they're highly important, but it could be anything. In my mortgage brokerage, it's processing applications, it's submitting decision in principles, it's chasing clients for documentation, it's everything after a mortgage application has been submitted. In my coaching and mentoring business, it's the onboarding of clients. It is the making sure that they've got their access to our training portal. It's being in the community of 170 clients, making sure that their questions are answered, that they're supported, keeping an eye on everyone and everything, and having a go-between to make sure that I'm not getting bogged down with that administration. And then getting to the point of actually having, it's almost like a customer support, shall we say. So you have that and you leverage those activities out, because that enables you to focus on your superpowers, your genius, you're creating new content and ideas. The next thing you then do is we jump to the start of this process, which is the marketing. You have to work on marketing, and this is where so many people go wrong. The only thing that takes a business from 6 to 7 figures is having automated, structured, systemized, consistent marketing. And it's all well and good turning up on social media every single day, but that is not the goal. The goal is to make sure that you focus on creating the content, you produce the video, the podcast, the blog, whatever that one chosen method is. I love video because we can repurpose into audio and into podcast thereafter. But you focus on just doing that, your superpower. Only I can be in the video giving you this message. But then what happens is my team, Jack, who's been with me for a long period of time now, will take it. He will rip it down from Facebook. He will strip out the audio. He will get it transcribed into a blog. He will then turn that into mini quotes and graphics, and will then have images, short clip videos, Instagram reels, TikTok videos, all of this kind of stuff. Put subtitles on it, put a banner on it, create little tiny things out of all of these tips that I'm giving you. So therefore, one piece of content can effectively be the entire week's worth of content, all around one chosen topic and one chosen subject. And as you begin to grow, you then get to the phase of having to look at potentially utilizing ads. So I currently have 2 ads managers. I used to run them myself. I've done a lot of training in and around that, first of all, but it gets to a point where you have to focus on your superpowers. But I'm a big believer, if you're going to be spending your money on Facebook ads, YouTube ads, LinkedIn ads, any Google ads, any of these areas, you need to have a basic understanding, because otherwise, how can you ensure that the person who's doing the job for you actually knows what they're doing? In doing that, you can then leverage that out. So I've got somebody who manages my Facebook ads. I've got someone else who manages my YouTube and my Google ads, because they're the same channel. Once they are ready and sorted, we will then potentially look at LinkedIn ads. Now, my Google ads guy and the YouTube ads guy said to me, let's do some LinkedIn ads. I'm like, no, because I don't know the ROI that we're getting from the Google stuff first. You have to make sure that it's profitable. Now, in my mastermind that I ran yesterday, when it comes to ad spend, particularly if you're in financial services, it's not necessarily about the cost per lead. It's not about how much you pay for every single inquiry that comes through the door. It's about looking at it as a marketing machine, even from the point of view of Jack's wages, for example, included within this marketing section. Can you attribute, you put £1 in and you get £5 out? Because if someone's posting organically on social media, on all the different channels, putting LinkedIn articles up, LinkedIn posts, blogs on Medium, blogs on your website, all of this kind of stuff, that's activity. The only way in which you can gauge it is if you're doing it correctly, you won't get a high number of inquiries. But what you will get is you'll get your ideal client. And that ideal client might be worth £1,000 rather than £500. They might be worth £5,000 rather than £1,000. They might be worth 10 grand rather than 2 grand. And when they come in, the idea is the best clients that I absolutely love, who are the easiest people to work with, are when they've turned around and they say, Gary, I've read the book, I've downloaded the ebook, I've got all my documentation ready, I've listened to the podcast, I've done this, that, and the other. Where do I send all my documentation and how do we do business? You know, that's how it kind of works. The podcast, the videos, the content that you produce, the images that you put out there. Imagine it, I hate the saying, but imagine it as a funnel. You're sharing value at the top of the funnel, and then you're trying to move them into the next phase of the journey of having a closer connection with you, downloading something, reading something, engaging with you, getting onto your email list, whatever it might well be. And it's playing the long game with your marketing. And that's something that you can leverage. It's the biggest department generally where you are at, because you have to get reach, you have to get inquiries, and they will funnel down and trickle down into then sales, which is the last thing that you begin to leverage. The last thing that you have to leverage is your sales out to a salesperson. Everyone's really keen to, particularly in financial services again, to get advisors in and to get rid of salespeople. You know, I was talking to one of my clients recently who wanted to utilize Google advertising for his website. Got a great relationship with the estate agency, knows the numbers that he's converting. And I said, no. Give the estate agent to your new advisor, because you know the KPIs and the metrics of your lead to sale, your introduction to sale, and you can train them and teach them to do it the same way. You then focus on the new cost, which is going to be a cost in marketing for the Google ads. You set the standard because you're the expert and you will care about it more than anybody else. And then you bring somebody else in to replace you. You delegate that and you elevate yourself as you pass on those activities and those tasks. And that's vital. And then you need to think about within this journey, you know, your administrator, when you bring them in, will initially be a PA. But as you get busier, as you're starting to spin more plates, as you're potentially now managing 2 or 3 people, or you've got an outsourcer like we have on the Facebook ads side, you know, you have to get to the point of saying, okay, I've got my administrator. Do we want to bring in another administrator, or do we want to bring in a PA who can work alongside me? And that's a conversation that you have with somebody. Because the vital thing in delegating to elevating is that point of a PA is there to manage you. If you're really busy dealing with your marketing person, dealing with the administration and the processing of your clients and the management of your clients, dealing with the finances on a weekly basis, then talking to your ad team, then talking to your SEO team, as such that I am now, you've got a lot of plates to be spinning, and it's impossible to keep an eye on all of those things and be creative and decide the strategy and have an outward forward vision focus, because you're focusing on the here and now. You need to remove some of that, which is why you potentially have the PA who manages you, your diary, your actions, your tasks. Now, again, in terms of the next delegate to elevate, is you have the PA who potentially could become your operations manager, and they would begin to manage all those people within the business. They would monitor the sales team. You know, the last thing that you want to get rid of is the sales, because that's the thing that drives the money into the business. And particularly if you're selling, you know, mortgages or financial services or a coaching program or accountancy, you need to initiate that conversation. In my mortgage brokerage, when I brought in advisors, I used to do all of the first strategy calls, the 30 minutes with each and every single client. I would sell the fee, I would sell the service, I would sell the brand, the business, the journey, make sure that they were engaged. And then I would say, brilliant, from here on in, I'm going to pass you to Sally, I'm going to pass you to Andrew, who will manage the relationship hereafter. They'll do all the processing, they'll do all the research, they'll do everything else. But I know that the sale was controlled at that point in time. Then when you get to that stage of, you know, you've got a good relationship, you know they're bought in, they understand. I then said, right, Sally and Andrew, you do the first appointments now, which then freed me up to do more strategy, vision, marketing, etc. So it's a difficult journey. It's never going to be an easy one. People are the hardest point, and I'm a big fan of utilizing, you know, disc profiling, or I think it's 14 personalities or 12 personalities or 7 personalities, whatever the website is. There's a personalities website. Comment in if you would like me to give you the link, and I will show you it, because it's a great one to understand yourself better and those superpowers, but it's also a great one to get any respective prospective employee, freelancer to work, to complete, so you understand them better and make sure that they're congruent with you. So that is the process of delegating to elevating. That is the differences between all the roles and the departments. And that is the most important thing when it comes to letting go to grow, delegating to elevating. Your PA manages you. Your operations manages the business. They take on the project management. They take on the contracts. They take on almost the puppeteering of the existing team. So therefore you can manage one person and one person manages 5, 6 people. And then you have a PA that liaises with you in terms of your daily organization. Your PA would liaise as well with you and your operations manager to make sure that things are taken care of and the diary and the calendar and everything is sorted. That in turn creates a fantastic lifestyle business. That can be a highly profitable, highly successful organization that gives you time, money, and freedom, a fun and profitable lifestyle business. So in summary, finances could be outsourced, especially outsourced to a bookkeeper in the early stages. You bring in an administrator straight away to take away some of the lower value tasks. That's 1.5 people, we'll call it, on the team. So I'll put my thumb to a half. You then bring in somebody to assist with marketing, because marketing is the lifeblood of the business and 101 when it comes to driving sales, which you take on. I then believe you then bring in a PA, or your administrator becomes your PA. So you've now got 2 technically administrating people. You've now got 3.5 on your team, we shall call it. It then gets to the point when you're at that stage that you have more time, you can bring in the salesperson. So we've got marketing, we've got admin, we've got marketing, we've got PA, and we've got sales. And then at that phase, you can bring in an operations manager who will take on the management of all 4 of those people and enable you to create more time and more freedom to do the things you love with who you love. But there's a bit of an earlier process to that, which I will share with you at a later point. And it's about understanding, the importance around that marketing and attracting that ideal client to you. Because without that, you are absolutely stuck. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Remember that business is all about being proactive. Life is all about being proactive. It's about stopping waiting for it to happen and going and making it happen. We get one opportunity. We get one chance. We might as well grab it with both hands and do the best that you possibly can. The more proactive you are, the more you can achieve mentally, physically, and financially possible. Thanks for tuning in.